Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In case this is your first time here, hi, my name is Bella. It's nice to meet you. Happy New Year. I'm so happy that you're starting off the new year with me. I've never done my makeup in my room before, believe it or not. Once I got a desk outside my room, I was just there forever, you know. But today I decided to do my makeup in a more chilled environment. So I've literally packed
It's
everything.
11 o'clock.
Thank you. I've literally packed everything that I usually use for a basic makeup routine into my room. And today I'm going to be talking about 2018 in review. My 2018 was very interesting to say the least. And weirdly enough, the most interesting part is not the fact that I'm having a baby. 2018 for me was like an emotional roller coaster. I started off the year single after being in a long-term relationship for about 3 years. So that was interesting because I haven't been single for the longest time. Let me know in the comments if you're one of those people. There are some of us that are just always in a relationship. We're serial monogamous. That's basically me. So I'm not even going to bother stating the things that I'm using in this video because the likelihood is that I'm going to forget along the way. But if you are interested in the items that I'm using, check the link below. It's going to give you a direct link to my blog, thebrowniegram. Before I actually continue talking, my brows take the longest time out of everything to do. So I think I'm going to get my priming and brows out of the way first. In as much silence as possible, just cut it out in general. Trying to adjust to that. An interesting dynamic going from being in a relationship for a really long time to just not being in a relationship. Everybody's still kind of shuffling around to see if it's possible to make things work, even though looking in the depths of your heart, you just know that it's just not gonna work, relatable or not. But yeah, that was the first couple of weeks of my year, really. Just dealing with that and going to the new year with a stronger relationship with God, thankfully. Things seem to be looking up from that point, which is kind of sad to say, but things seem to be looking up. And then I get to March. March is my birthday month, my birth month. I was turning 25, so for me this year was going to be big. I was going to turn 25, I was going to graduate, and I was going to be free or whatever that really means. So on my actual birthday I didn't have anything planned, and then the day after I had a birthday party, a kiddie style birthday party, if that makes any sense. On my birthday, my friends threw me a surprise birthday party. It was the best birthday party I've ever had. This birthday was the best birthday I've ever had because I had 2 parties and I was surrounded by people that I loved, that cared about. I think aside from one person or 2 people that were missing, one of which was a guy that I now started seeing at the beginning of the year as well, in February. A week later, I started to feel pains in my abdomen, lower abdomen area, and that was when I realized that there was something wrong, because I have such a high threshold for pain that sometimes, not that this foundation has finished, so I'm going to be heartbroken, that sometimes even when something is hella painful, I probably won't realize until it's too late that I'm in pain, which was kind of, I guess, the situation this time. I had probably been getting minor jabs here and there, but it was just nothing serious for me. You know how you just figure, it's just part of growing up, growing pains sometimes, blah blah blah. Nah. I had to get some ultrasounds done, and then I found out that I had a cyst, which for me was just wow, what a delayed birthday present from the devil. I had a cyst on one of my ovaries, on my left ovary, and yeah. So you know how people say things like, when one bad thing happens, it seems to like cancel out all the good things that have happened. That's literally what happened. So I had started off like the year so happy and stuff, like going after my first class, right on track for that, etc, etc. As soon as this happened, like my whole world just shattered, and it was it was a hard couple of months, to be honest, because I couldn't even have the surgery until like April. So I was like on pain medication for so long. I didn't really tell that many people about it, just because like I didn't want people to panic or like start googling stuff and scare themselves the way that, like, I have googled stuff and scared myself and stuff like that. Basically is how I spent my March, April, and then May when I was recovering. It was a very terrible time, emotionally downtrodden time for me. I felt very alone, even though I had my friends like supporting me and backing me up and stuff like that. I think coming from a place of somebody that has any kind of like has had or has any kind of mental illness, you can't help but feel like you're on your own, even when you might not necessarily be on your own. So that was basically what I was like going through. Surgery came at that point in time. I don't even know, like, I think that is, aside from like now with this pregnancy, that's the most vulnerable I feel like I've ever been. I've never been admitted to a hospital before then or anything like that. I just visit people in the hospital, you understand? So this was revolutionary for me. I had to stay overnight, had to get like a catheter, had to like, it was the full nine. It was the full nine. And for like days after, I couldn't sit. I could not bathe myself. Like, my mom and I really bonded during that period in time, much like now that she broke her leg, or she hurt her leg, rather, she didn't break her leg. We bonded because she would like give me baths and stuff and all that. She would have to like sponge bathe me, and I had these scars, right? They're not big, but for somebody like me, when you've not experienced anything, I would hate to think of myself as superficial. But at the same time, I love my body. Like, I can't lie. I love myself and I love my body. So when an unknown force now comes into play in your own body, you can't help but be upset about it. So for me, I was always looking at the scars. My doctor would be like, oh, they're going to fade with time. They didn't, by the way. So that was a lie. But I just had to kind of accept them, you know? So that was like my first like 3 months. In June, like as a follow-up, I kind of heard some more bad news concerning the same surgery. So that just really took a lot of my year. That took a large chunk of my year. During this period in time, I'm still in school, still trying to finish up my final year strong and trying to be strong, because that's just the person I am, unfortunately. I'm always the person that is strong. So during that period in time, still trying to recover, and everything is apparently, mentally and otherwise, is apparently when one of my like, not longest standing friendships, but one of my most prominent friendships, I guess you could say. And by prominent, I mean like a friendship that a lot of people that know me know about, kind of just started to fizzle out for me. And that was just like another 2018 thing. I was just like, okay, 2018, here we go again. Still try to hold on to it as best as I could, but certain things just happened that by summertime I was just like, this is not going to work. Because to be honest, like, there's only so much that you can take from a person, and there's only so much that a person can take from you as well. So yeah, it's not good to test people's limits, basically. basically. And that was basically it for my summer. Came back from summer, realized that I was with child like close to the end of this year, and it was a very interesting experience. I feel like lots of people would be alarmed to know how I actually dealt with it in real life. So I might do a I think I might actually made a podcast about this already. If I haven't, I probably will. I'd rather make a podcast about it. My podcast is coming out in February, by the way. So look out for that. But had to deal with that. Had to deal with everybody else dealing with that, because that was like the most important thing. Not really me dealing with it or the dad dealing with it as much as everybody around us dealing with it. There were a lot of sleepless nights for a lot of people on both ends. I'll just tell you that. I can tell you that for free. But yeah. So my 2018 was like mentally tasking for me. It really made me question God and question a lot of things, because no matter how you want to look at things, when something like when your body betrays you, right? It's really hard to adjust to the fact that that's a possibility, especially if you're somebody like me that was so attentive to my body. Like I could predict when things were going to happen. I would know even before I took certain tests. So I started feeling symptoms. I would know when I had like malaria or when I was sick or anything like that. To go from that to all of a sudden having a cyst that is literally as big as an orange just casually sitting inside you and not even knowing, for only God knows how long it took it to get to that size, it just makes you question a lot of things. And like I can't even lie to you, like it was a mental thing. It was a mental break for me. It was a spiritual break. I didn't pray for the longest time. In fact, I think the only thing that made me pray after that, like actually pray, was the fact that like my graduation was coming up. Now, because of how I was mentally, I already knew that I was not going to get it to a first, because I knew that after that surgery, as soon as I found out about that surgery, like all the bets were off. I just could not concentrate. I could not meet my personal deadlines, etc. But that was like the one thing that actually made me pray again. And after that, a week later, when I found out that I was pregnant. So when you find out that you're having a child, then like there's another living being beating in you, and that regardless of how you feel about God at that present point in time, and you know everything else that's going on, that God has allowed you to be a mother, something that so many people are crying and knocking their heads on the floor for every day. You can't help but start praying again. That's just the truth. You can't help but start praying again. And that was like kind of what pushed me back into praying again. I started off this year with the same agreements and the same promises that I had made majority of my adult life, which is which has to do with like the struggle with like sin and sex and stuff like that. I started off this year confidently with the mindset that I was going to be celibate, and then certain things, when a lot of things started unraveling in my life and I just started being angry with God, I just kind of was like, do you know what? Sorry guys, battery died again. I don't know if it's I'm talking too much or I'm just ill prepared for like life right now. But the only thing that I have done now is just set everything in place. It's so funny that I don't know if it's because of the baby or what it is, but for me, it does feel like I can't look at 2018 and be upset. Like I just can't. I can't bring myself to look at 2018 and be upset for some weird reason. I don't know if it's like a mental thing or what, but I just cannot be upset. And I feel like the reason I can't be upset is that a lot of things that happened aside from the actual surgery, I kind of know the purpose for them as at this present point in time. So like I've gone through the year trying to figure out like why did this happen this way or why did that happen this way, and God has given me peace in those things. The only thing that I'm still kind of about is the surgery. Why did I need to have surgery? Realistically speaking, what was the point? You know, I mean, aside from save my life, or why was I even in the position where my life needed to be saved in the first place? And I'm still looking for the answer to that, to be honest. But yeah, that was basically my 2018. Like, I feel like social media is so weird in that there's only so much that you can express at a given time. You know, it almost feels like there's a certain limit to the amount of emotions that you can express in a year on social media. That's how I feel. So when you get to a certain breaking point, you're just kind of like, ugh, I am not a broken record. I can't keep sounding like a broken record. I'm just not finna do that. A very good example is now with me having a baby and obviously not being married. Everybody and their mother has been trying to figure out and ask slyly who the father of my child is. And all I literally say is, you don't know him because y'all don't know him. Like, you just don't. And that's kind of me towing the line of what to keep to myself and what to really talk about, because I am an open book, and there's a danger with being an open book is that, one, people take advantage of you, and two, sometimes you're so open because it's therapeutic to you. You don't really realize the effect that it has on the people around you. And I'm being constantly reminded, especially now that my life is not my own. So I try to respect other people's boundaries concerning me as well, and not just put out everybody's business to the world, you know. I'm just not that person. I've been saying this for a while. I've even said this on my social media that I was going to do a video of lessons I learned in 2018, and I am definitely going to do that. I might even just do it with the same makeup look, like this finished makeup look, and just put out the videos at different times, because I would love to share with you guys all the other lessons that I learned in 2018. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to come back with my finished look, just so that you guys can see what's happened at the end of all this madness and all this powder, you know, all this powder and madness. And yeah, I will be right back. Alright guys, so I am here with my completed look. Really basic, like I'm actually not going anywhere, I'm just running errands today, so I just needed like a bit of a pick-me-up, you know. So that is why we are just like this, and I just got like some new jewelry, which is kind of cute. So I decided, why not? Thank you guys so much for watching. Please look out for my lessons I learned in 2018 video. And before I forget, because like I be forgetting things these days, do not forget that you are sugar, you are spice, and you are bomb ash gel first. Bye guys.